name is Jules Febre. I'm a Jivamukti yoga teacher based in New York City. I travel around the world teaching yoga and making it as accessible as I can.
I'm here at long last with Jules Febre. I don't know if we've ever really met, except for yesterday.
Yesterday,
where we deeply connected.
I'll have to remind you, I met you first at Yoga Rocks with Shakti Redding and Sean Korn, like 18 years ago.
Yeah, that was like 24 years ago.
Yeah.
Back when we were
36.
in our early 20s.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. Well, now that we're in our 60s, we can look back at yoga culture. And just to drop a light question on you, we've been discussing this for a few minutes before. I know you're super active with trying to make yoga more accessible. So we're here in Rocky Mountain National, well, near Rocky Mountain National Park. There's a lot of yogis, a lot of yoga pants. Not a lot of people of color.
True.
Right. So what can we do to make yoga feel more accessible?
I really think the onus is on the yoga teachers. And there's a couple of things. Traditionally, yoga was free, but that's also because society was geared around a certain student-teacher dynamic. So the teacher was taken care of by the students, which isn't necessarily happening now. So the teacher asked for a little bit of money. However, it's one of the things that I really try to do is go into the communities where I know yoga might be appreciated and offer it up. So I teach something called hip hop yoga, which is a little bit kitschy, but it started with me going to a homeless shelter with a bunch of young guys. And if I go in there and play Christian dance music, beat me up, take my iPod, put some hip hop on it. So let's put, why not have hip hop be the common language and then let the yoga come in traditionally. So I think what
So
each
you're saying
of us,
kirtan might not go
not in the
real
very
big.
first, not in the
Right.
first one, be like, on board,
Yeah.
Bhuvasva.
rocking back and forth on the floor.
Yeah, let your eyes roll back slightly. It's not going to go over so well in a probation center, right? And I think one of the reasons that,
To be fair, if I may,
Yeah, please.
kirtan makes a lot of white people gag as well.
yeah, it's true. I've
getting you in
seen
trouble
that.
now.
I've seen that as well.
Yeah.
But I think one thing that makes yoga inaccessible is the language that is used.
Right.
And when a yoga teacher can be practical, how do I put this into everyday life? What does this mean for somebody who's living in poverty? How do I take this sense of joy that you're talking about that is super abstract and make it real? And it's something very easy, like yoga, the very little bit of it is asana. Some of it is bhakti, devotion. Some of it is just cultivating a relationship that allows somebody to have a dynamic group of experiences that allows them to make better choices.
So what does that mean for dumb people like me, that last part?
Yeah, it means, let's say you grew up not necessarily with hip hop, but you grew up with ballet. Can you then go to a place that offers ballet for people who maybe don't have money to take ballet in an academy and offer a yoga practice that allows them to be centered, that is a relationship that you can talk about different things. Well, what are your food choices? What is your home life like? Let's sit down and be quiet for a while. We don't need to say anything, maybe. I remember I was teaching one time and it was loud and it was hip hop, and at the end one of the kids was like, yo son, I heard what's that thing where you and y'all be floating up and shit, like can we do some of that? And so they started to want to get deeper into it. So how can you challenge somebody in a community that maybe wouldn't have any access in a way that recognizes their strength and then allow them to explore?
So I think there is fair to say there's a fair amount of longing and openness from the existing yoga community, whatever that is, to have more accessibility and more diversity. And at the same time, there's a real sense of fear or we don't know how to do it. So on some level, how do yoga studio owners and how do teachers open up and engage? Do they, I mean, Sean, who's a good friend and a hero of a lot of us, she's come under a lot of criticism over the years for, being the white woman going and helping,
Yeah.
So how do we do it in a mindful, equal, respectful way?
Yeah, definitely. There's this idea that's referred to as a generous thief, where you go into the community and say, oh, you've had such a hard life, let me help you. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like I have.
What do you know about
me?
me?
What do you know about me? And maybe my life is actually quite beautiful in some ways that your life lacks. And I think the first thing is to go in and really just be with somebody. Where do they live? What are they doing? What is their social structure like? And then could you in some way be included in that social structure? And from that place of acceptance, then share what you know.
So less preconception and more listening.
And definitely no proselytizing. Absolutely none.
Right. What would
no-
yoga proselytizing be?
Most people break the world into my yoga friends and my not yoga friends, right? Like, oh, these are my yoga friends, they totally get it. Here are my not yoga friends, they're doing the best they can. And that is a total, like, I've put myself on a pedestal because I think I know something about the world. And then because I know just a tiny fraction, I'm like, oh, you must come with me to yoga class. You're gonna love it. It's gonna change your life.
Right. I get it.
Get out of my
I get
face.
it. Right.
The best thing that we can do is be a joyous
You
example.
need yoga.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
need yoga.
yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, what I need is a little bit of space. So back up.
You need to step off. Yeah.
But really, the best thing is how can you just be a joyous example of all the teachings that you think you're learning? And if you can invite them to such a place, then people will just ask you, Waylon, you look great for 63. Have you, what's up? Like your skin is glowing.
Yeah.
I love the way your outfit is looking right. Like what's going on? How is this working? And then you can say, well, it's yoga. Because once somebody asks, they've given you permission.
I'm only 18, so I actually look really bad. Things are not going well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I look like 41.
It's this high altitude, man. You got to go down to the people.
Yeah. Yeah. But not condescend to the people.
That's right. Totally different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's profound stuff and it's difficult, but I appreciate your bringing that message down to us.
Thank you.
So thank you. Yeah. And I think, I mean, not to get too complicated or involved, but there's a lot of projection on both.
Yeah, definitely.
In both directions. Like, I was raised by a single mom who had no money and never made more than $12K a year and lost her house. And, not comparing, you can't get into like, I want to say distance, but you can't like get into competing with your stories. But hopefully, how do you meet? I guess the question is, how do you meet in a place of empathy or mutual respect or heart?
Yeah.
How do you get beyond the sort of white-black or whatever it is?
Yeah. Well, I think yoga is a fantastic tool for that because the whole idea is trying to find that which unifies things that seem separate.
Right.
And we're so good at looking at differences, my color, my class, my social standing. And some of the most incredible people that have been influential to me, somebody like Russell Simmons, who when I first started teaching opened so many doors. He would come to class every single day. And he's one of the busiest people I knew. And he just, Jules, whatever you want to do. And it wasn't because I was a person of color, it was because I was interested in seeing beyond those differences, and so was he. And a lot of the people that I find have really achieved something, whether they practice yoga or not, they've been able to find that unifying force.
So you can respect the differences and also look beyond them.
Yeah, you got to respect the differences.
Yeah.
I mean, if I line up a white kid, an Ethiopian, and an Asian, you're gonna tell me, oh, I don't see any difference.
Right.
Now you're letting go of everything that kind of makes up their form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Jules.
Yeah, pleasure.
Good to see you again.
And again and again.
Jules Febre.